Every good morning to our lecturer, my fellow friends, and also to my teammates. For the first presenter today, which is me, myself, Pana Romes. Second presenter, which is Emilia Shamimi. The third presenter, which is Beran Benjamin. Fourth presenter, Sofia Emily. And the last presenter for today, which is Nur Sajana. For the uh, basic engineering presentation today, we have three themes, which is six-step machine, second heat, and the last one we will uh, talk about welding safety. I hope you guys will enjoy to our present today. The first one, introduction. For the introduction, six simple machine. Simple machine, which is a mechanical device, which will change the direction of magnitude force in order to perform work. Secondly, the simple machine, which is inclined plane, wheel, acne, pulley, lever, wedge, and screw. That is the example of the simple machine. The first is inclined plane. Inclined plane, which is something reference as a clamp, is a flat support surface that has one end is higher than others, at the angle to rise or lower a weight. Second, which is wheel and axle, which is a simple machine having a wheel and axle. The line motion of the axle of time by rotation, the wheel so as a reduced friction. Third one is pulley. Pulley, which is the wheel that carries the principal rope, cord, cable, chain, or belt on the rim. Pulley are used sidely or communication to transit energy or motion. Okay, the fourth one, which is a bar, and the fourth one is lever. Lever, which is a bar or board that rests on a support called a fulcrum. Little force can lift a heavy object by applying downward pressure to one end of the lever, which is can be transmitted and augmented in an upward direction at the other end. Okay, the next simple machine is weight. Weight, which is simple machine used to separate two objects or portion of object taught the application of force. The last simple machine is a screw. Screw is an inclined plane consists the sloping surface. A screw is usually couplet cylinder members uh, with a continuous helical ribs used as a fastener as a force and motion modifier. Okay. The next cluster, which is heat. Heat is transfer of the kinetic energy one medium or object to another, or from and transfer can occur in three ways. First, radiation. Second is conduction, and the last one is convection. Because the heat exhaustion include exposure to high temperature. Second is particular when combined with high humidity and stress, so not physical activity. Okay, for the last cluster, for introduction, which is welding safety. Welding safety is a basic practical that need employee apply, such as with a basic skill or use the PPE in the site. Welding safety will prevent injuries. Example, welder using a glove, using a goggles, helmet, uh, and we it can protect the respiratory protection. Welding safety also uh, need to be have a training on operation equipment and also uh, training for the increase the hazard. This is the introduction of three cluster from me. Thank you. I will pass to the next presenter.
Okay, my name is Nur Emilia Shamimi. I will explain about literature review. Okay, for the literature review, we have season 3 cluster, which is simple machines, heat, and welding safety. For cluster 1, we choose 6 simple machines. For article 1, 6 simple machines, the title is engineering for middle school. A website module for learning and designing with simple machines. This article was written by Anne McKenna and Alice Agogino, graduate, graduate group in science and mathematics education. This article provides an overview of the teaching modules developed for secondary school students. The present also work contributes to this growing research community, but it offers a unique perspective through the use of an interactive web, web-based web-based teaching environment, cognitive goals, where we are defined to determine the learning that should occur among students. Okay, for Article 2, the topic that I choose is Force and Simple Missions and Integrated Science Learning Unit for Yukon Grade 5 students. In this paper, they tell that their support has ensured that Northern students are provided with the opportunity to learn about their heritage. Students will use their knowledge to compare different types of wedge used in Yukon for chopping and splitting wood. I will continue for the cluster 2. I will pass to Sophia.
Thank you, my panel friend, Samimi. Before I continue this slide with my part, let me introduce myself first. My name is Sophia Emily, and I will present about literature review, a machine learning approach. The main objective of this study was made for district heating system to supply thermal energy to residential and commercial buildings, especially for space and domestic water heating for a centralized point. The researcher focused on the main production division consisting of a boiler station that only produce heat or a cogeneration plant that produce heat and electricity. Second, hot water is distributed throughout the grid with insulate pipes of various diameters, while the return pipeline carries the used water back to the production site. The supply pipelines send hot water to the substation from the user side. The system consists of a substation where heat energy is transferred from the main network to the secondary network through a heat exchanger that may include control valve actuators, speed pump control, flow meters, and gauges. The data shows the DHS load prediction across with production environment restriction. From the paperwork, we found that the data collection sensors were installed in 5 substations that supply multi-family apartment building. Due to their varying geolocation, the residential complex will experience various microlimits. And I will continue with cluster number 2, that is heat flux formation, learning based personal comfort modeling. Ubiquitous thermophysiological. Sensing is the flexible sensing technology that can measure the human thermophysiological response to drive comfort, that the potential of heat flux sensor for human constructive interaction in thermal comfort management. The investigation have used new physiology sensing technique using RGB camera, Doppler radar sensor, and and blood pressure that can detect by indirect measurement of blood pressure. This can be proved with the rate of the heat exchange between the body and the environment is associated with change in human heat perception and the relationship between human thermoregulatory mechanism and human environment heat exchange. Next, the term of Asray is the term comfort, is the evolution of subjective satisfaction with respect to the ambition environment involving the physiological, and the other process of the occupants. They also aim to take into account the thermophysiological response of occupants with respect to ambient temperature. With this method, they use a four-way. Truth is, one is blood flow to skin. This is the most widely used physiological feature, which causes skin temperature. Secondly is sweating. For this way, they use a defense mechanism that cools the skin and increase the heat loss from the cold. Third is respiration, which is a way of losing sensible and latent heat. And last is heart rate, that use moderate metabolism indicator. Next point is distribute sensing and control framework. In this part of framework, variable of non-explosive sensor are used to analyze report, thermal boards, as well as physiological reason and environment data measurement. Figure 1 shows a general design for HITL and HAV control that measure of distribute feedback from human sensors. Next is point about heat flux sensing. Heat flux sensor generate electrical voltage signal proportional to the heat exchange rate to the surface of the transducer. This device consists of a different thermophile metal hose in a sheet or polyimide that used for collecting both heat exchange from skin as well as skin temperature. This technology may be included into the wearable with smartwatch because to the transducer form which enables seamless communication between user and building system. And I will pass the point to the next panel. Thank you.
Okay, so we continue to the last cluster, that is safety, welding safety. For Article 1 is a review of safety in welding and its level of compliance among local welders, fabricators in Delta State. So in this paper, it's about arts welding process, special problems which originate from particular characteristics of the art. The need for a later apron becomes important when the welder is carrying overhead or vertical welding. For the Article 2, a review on troubleshooting, testing, and safety precautions procedure for welding process. This article's story about resistance welding is a technique used for the welding of metals and other materials such as plastics to create a more durable and corrosion-resistant product. The metal that is turned to the top will be heat locally to a plastic state because in welding a heavy electric current will flow. Within the specific time, the welding must be complete with the application of pressure. So I will pass to the next.
Thank you, Shamimi. My name is Verania Benjamin. I will present about discussion and content. First cluster is 6 simple machine. First simple machines is Insulin plan. Insulin plan is love aircraft used in rising, wetting bodies and facilitating work in lifting object to a higher level. Two methods to raise an object, to wake up it by lifting it directly and by pushing it horizontally. When lifting, a straight object should move the object in the shortest distance with a more permanent force and use in insulin plan. When lifting an object, that will require a smaller force that use a distance. Second simple machine is wheels and axle. If the wheels rotates, the speed and direction of the wheels will be followed. The axle also moves due to the principle used in moving object or lifting object from one place to another. The size of objects, small gear and large gear. Third simple machine is puller. Puller is similar to wheels and axle, but choose wheels but and not axle. Puller use a rope to turn the wheels that will increase the mechanical energy and push the object needed to lift. When rotation is done singularly, then it is a simple puller known as a compound puller in a various aspects. Next slide. Next slide. Uh, fourth simple machine is lever. Lever is used to lift an object because it has an arm and a fulcrum that move in the opposite direction. For example, when the force is applied in one direction, then the billboard apply force in the opposite direction. Because force and distance are inverse to each other, but if the force increases and decreases, it will depend on the distance only. There are three types of lever. First class lever has a fulcrum between load and effort. For example, a saw. Second class lever has a load between effort and fulcrum. For example, wheelsboro. Third class lever is have the effort between load and fulcrum. For example, fishing rod. Five, the five simple machine is which can be used to break a heavy object into smaller pieces because the breaking of this heavy object is done by giving a smaller force in the magnitude, and this which it can be insulin plan that move and can be put together on the handle, which make it more convenient to use. Next. Next. Number six simple machine is screw. Screw is insulin plant around a cylinder. Can be recognized as a cylinder with a head at one end and a pointer and has a ridge wind around it. A screw can also be recognized as the ridge around the cylinder is a thread. The distance between the thread is the same for each screw, but will be different for other screw. Screw work in holding an object together, which allow the screw to pull or push object together. This screw used to lifting object, which is heavy object, and also tightening the object. The characteristic of this inches plan, number one is having a flat surface at the angle inch length. Number two is have one end of the angle higher than the another angle. Inch plane is a support to rise or lower the load, and is the side inch plane that is a triangle. The horizontal surface is at the angle of the surface, and this inch plane help to make heavy object move. For the characteristic for puller is using the wheels to turn the fixed axle by setting the groove at each edge to provide support to the rope. It's a machine made of rope and chains integrated with a groove wheels. The puller is manufacturers can change the direction of the force by making it easier to lift an object. The characteristic for liver is a rigid body capable of twisting at its own point. Liver has three parts, which is a fulcrum, load, and effort. and it's a simple machine. The characteristic of which is a triangular shaped device. It's also a mobile leaf plant, the use of which is to separate the two objects and thus useful working by moving. The characteristic of screw must be round in shape, have a pitch. Next slide. Next slide. The advantage and disadvantage. First, simple machine, the inch length. The advantage is help in reducing the use of force required to lift an object. And number two, have reduced vertical height. And this disadvantage is it's necessary to move the object that one for the wheels and axle. It make easier to push load and move fast. The system can change the force by simply determining the distance the force needs to be applied. For the disadvantage is the load slow down depending on the amount of force used. For the puller, the advantage for puller is less force is required to pull the load. And the number two is the force used in less than half weight of the load. For the advantage is the puller must be pulled and pushed up and down. Power has to travel far. For the lever, the advantage of lever is help to lift object easily and does not use electricity. For the disadvantage is slow lifting process, not suitable for use in high flats. For the advantage is easy to separate portions of object, easy to produce material form that emphasize stress. For the disadvantage is it's a little hard to move because of the weight, different to rechange. For the advantage is rust resistant, has a various size and shape, durable and very strong, and can be reused. For disadvantage is not having the ability to hold half the weight of object to be supported by normal screw. The screw connection is easy to tears. Next slide. Neck cluster its heats. Heat is transfer of kinetic energy from one object to another that come from different energy resource. This energy transfer can be divided into three ways, namely radiation, conduction, and convection. When heat passing through radiation, the effect of infrared energy, or known as IR, will affect the surface. The IR is an electromagnetic field that has the ability to transfer energy from another energy resource. The heat transfer medium to not needed by radiation because it can be produced through vacuum, and this radiation is also needed in the heating of the earth by the sun. When heat through conduction occurs, the two material object will be in direct contact and also occurs at temperatures that is higher than the other temperature. This heat flow result from transfer kinetic energy from hotter medium to colder one. When heat through convections occurs, the movement resulting from liquid or gas will bring energy from a hotter surface to a colder one. For example, the tendency of hot air to rise and cool air to fall, such as the temperatures of the room being the same as the temperature of hot kitchen. The thermal convections occurs to transfer kinetic energy from the inner core. Next slide. The characteristic of this heat has no shape, mass, color, smell, volume, and even weight. This heat is invisible energy, and the presence of heat can be detected through the effect on matter. This heat can also be transferred from one object to another. These heats flow in all directions and can be transferred into other form of energy. For example, when an electric bulb is turning on, the electric energy changes into light energy. For the advantage and disadvantage of heat, for the advantage is heat are natural and renewable, can save more electricity and water, easier convert the process to electricity, can save energy in terms of construction. For the disadvantage is the heat can be generated, has a bad effect on installations and other electrical components and easier flammable. The resistance of various circuits element will decrease. When the electric current that flow through the conduct is changed to heat energy, then the use of the energy is intensive. For the next presenter.
All right. That's the next cluster, which is welding safety. I will continue for the part discussion and content. For the welding safety, firstly, have been designed to protect worker from welding hazard while working. Second one is safety can be done by ensuring that training is carried out correctly and ensuring that worker inspect welding equipment before work. Third, ensuring that worker know the safety progression before doing welding activity to minimize the risk and health and safety injuries. Last one is the health effect when metal fumes are produced from metal heat above the boiling point and the vapor conduits which make the particle very fine. Right, this is the general safe work practice for the welder. Firstly, welder operator must always wear an improved respirator unless the exposure rating is below the applicable exposure limit. Second one is always perform an inspection of the welding equipment and electrode holder before doing work. The third one is the welder should not touch the metal part of the electrode holder with wet skin or cloth, which is because the welder equipment is very hot. This is very dangerous for the worker. The fourth is always wear appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, as a welding helmet, goggles to protect the eyes and health of worker from hot slag, spark, bright light, and chemical burns. The last one is welding worker must be in the work area when welding is completed to ensure that there's no burning fire. So the characteristics of welding safety. First is no crack on the blade. Second is a uniform wave, wide and have should be present on the bed. Fourth is a finished product that meet the requested design, dimension, and has no restriction. The last one is the wheel must meet the specified strength. Okay, this is the advantage and the advantage for the welding safety. Firstly, the advantage is has durable, strong and permanent joint. Second one is very simple work process to produce net work result. Next is if the filter material is used, it will produce a strong and resist well than a base material. Okay, the fourth is the welding can be done in various places. So it means all the welder can weld in the specific space weld the equipment. Last one is a safe process time. So all the welder weld the equipment will take the short time and will save the time for the worker or employee. So the advantage for the safety welder is firstly, if safety guidelines are not followed, it's very dangerous. That means all the welder or work employer need to use the guideline that was given. The second is material that have been joined are difficult to separate again. The last one is this welding it required electricity supply and a skilled labor to do the welding work. So that is the advantage and the advantage of the safety of welding. And the last one is I will give to the last presenter.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you
Okay.
for me.
Thank you, Christopher. My name is Nurjana and I would like to present about conclusion of our topic we have discussed. Uh, Accordingly, in 6 simple machines, there are many advantages in the field of the engineering that can be seen based on the literature review of the 2 articles we have discussed. The first article tells about a web-based module for learning and designing with simple machine. Based on article it has explained the benefit of internet-based teaching, which is very effective and user-friendly. This has also discussed the design guideline followed in the development of the user interface. In addition, it can also describe selected characteristics of the teaching environment. In this learning tool, they can design new commercial based of research, simulation, and prototypes. Next, develop an understanding and spark interest in how simple machine were an equine student way engineering practice and further contribute to their conceptual development. In the second article, that we have explained about force and simple machine and integrate science learning unit for Yukon grade 5 students. This have been a support for teacher to provide learning experience based of the heritage of Northern Yukon student. In the meantime, community members can express their time and knowledge to ensure that the students' learning season are very valuable. Additionally, engage students by providing first-hand or familiar experience. Assist students in broadening experience such as acting, illustration, and analogy. This can provide opportunity for them to foster student independence, creativity, and curiosity in solving problems. In physical science power, students can identify 6 different simple machines such as lever, wedges, incline planes, pulley screw, and wheels. In English language arts, students will learn to read and write about writing procedures and extract information from text and text feature. In addition, this can also support the development of student concept about simple machine phenomena according to the suggestion. Next slide. Okay. And regarding our second topic, it is very important in the field of engineering. We have done a literature review based on 2 articles related to heat. The first article we have discussed is about heat flows flashing for machine learning based personal thermal conform modeling. In this article, they were able to develop flexible technology that can measure human thermophysiological response in driving comfort. In the meantime, implicit measurement also analyze the reported heat rating as well as psychological response and environmental data measurements. This can also generate an electrical voltage signal proportional to the heat and change rate through the surface of the transducer, for example, the galvanization of smartwatch. For the article that we have For the second article that we have discussed is about forecasting heat load for smart district heating system, a machine learning approach. This learning can teach about evaluation technique that explain daily fluctuation in heat load in DHH has been presented. This can suggest an approach in predicting heat load and that is strong enough. Not only that, it can also focus on the user environment and take into account single family buildings in preventing daily usage up to 42 hours. In system agriculture, it can also provide an overview in differentiating substation with large data periods. Next slide. Next slide, Topper. According to our last topic, safety welding is very important matter in the field of engineering. And also we have done a literature review based on the two articles we have discussed related to the topic of safety welding. The first article tells about a review of safety in welding and its level complaints among local welder or fabricator in dealer state. And then the operator have been given precautionary measure to ensure their safety and health. In the meantime, they can train themselves to comply with the safety rules provided to avoid accident. It can also provide information that will be the basis of the policy making which make is very strict regulation. In job involving welding, the welder is remind to wear protective equipment such as coveralls and leather aprons to protect body part of from burn. Next, for the second article that we have discussed, it's that about a review on troubleshooting, testing, and safety precaution procedure of welding process. The article had include the concept of precautionary measure for the welding process learned by diploma and mechanical student. This article also states that they have also learned the concept of problem solve, testing, and safety precaution procedure in the welding process. They have to study a type of gas welding, which is a similar process of joining metal with a gas flame or without using pressure and filler material. In doing the welding process, they have been encouraged to wear goggles as eye protection when sparks are in need. They are also encouraged to wear gloves to protect their hands from heat and sparks. They can learn the type of welding which are gas welding, technique 1, and the left technique or for a hand welding method 2. They can also learn about sculpture welding, which is the process of joining two parts by melting the edge without pressure and filter metal. Okay, that's all from we. Thank you for listening our presentation.
That's all from us. Thank you very much. Hope you guys all enjoy with our presentation today. Have a nice day. Thank you.